Alright, cool. Can I start now?
Anytime you're ready.
Okay, so I'm Simon Weiss, and for my Genius Hour, I did baking. And so throughout the year, I wanted to try new recipes, and my goal was to make one thing a week. And so every week I make something new, like peanut clusters, snickerdoodles, lava cakes. So I did end up meeting my goal of, I'm going to try 23 new recipes, and throughout the year, I tried 47 dishes, which was well over the one dish a week that I was trying to do. Some of the skills that I wanted to learn, and that I did learn, was cake decorating and bread making, which were both things I've tried before, but I wanted to get a more in-depth understanding of them. So for cake decorating, I got a class for Christmas, and so I learned more of cupcake decorating, the frosting colors and buttercreams, and then how to do cake decorating. We tried a couple different cakes, and so we learned how to spin them and do the designs on the tops and sides. And for bread making, I learned how to work with yeast breads and how to form them into different braids and pull parts and how that would work to create. Could we tried both braided breads and pull apart breads, and so we learned how to make both of those. And so throughout the year, my baking definitely improved from broken croissants to real croissants that didn't melt in the oven. So a lot of the reason I wanted to do is I really enjoy baking, and so it was something that was really fun for me. And then I know a lot of my friends at school enjoy my baking. And so that was a lot of fun to be able to do that at home, and I learned a lot about different cultures and stuff while learning about the baked goods, and it was a fun way to decompress and stuff, being able to bake a lot. So a lot of stuff I learned is you're supposed to spray the pan before you bake. But also I learned a lot that you have to actually, when it tells you to wait between steps, you're actually supposed to wait, and so I learned a lot of patience with that. And I learned a lot of preparation because a lot of times I would not check bad ingredients, and then we'd get halfway through the recipe and we'd be missing stuff. And so I learned a lot about preparation and patience throughout that. And then, so my objectives originally were to create at least one dish a week, and at least three out of those 4 for a month would be new dishes. And so I met that goal and exceeded it because some weeks I'd make more than one. And so I definitely did that. And some of my accomplishments were I was able to create really cool themed ones, like for May the 4th, I made these really cool Star Wars sugar cookies with a royal icing. I made some really cool Valentine's Day treats, little Christmas cookie boxes for the teachers. And so those were all big accomplishments throughout the year. Any questions?
We all know what Simon should have covered. Did you get it all? Here we go. Ready? Something out.
What was your favorite dish that you made?
I really like marshmallow bars, and a lot of my friends really enjoy the marshmallow bars. But nice.
Teachers really enjoyed your packages.
Oh yeah, thanks.
Who was your mentor?
I didn't really have a mentor for this. I did a lot of online stuff with Food Network, but I didn't really have a true level mentor per se.
Come on, folks, don't sit there. Okay, he covered
Great.
everything.
What was the hardest dish to make?
Ooh, hardest dish. Some of the mini cakes were really hard and time consuming because we had to bake them and then the layers and the freezing and the decorating. Because I made like 5 mini cakes for St. Patty's Day, and those were a lot of work to make.
So, did you learn this spray thing the first time, the second time, or the third time?
The first time. I knew how to do it, but sometimes I just get in a rush and not remember to do it.
Okay.
So I definitely learned to slow down and actually pay attention.
Here's the second question for the same topic. The old school, when I was your age, was to butter a pan,
And then coat it with flour.
coat it with flour, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do that, or did you just rely on spray?
Well, so I've done spray before, but sometimes when I'll make cakes or like brownies or something, I'll coat it with butter, and then instead of using flour, I'll use powdered sugar. So give it kind of a sweet taste on the outside.
Okay. So it just depends on the
It depends.
pastry.
Like I wouldn't line a bread pan with powdered sugar and make garlic bread, because that wouldn't taste good, but.
And how about the use of parchment as?
I use that a lot when I make cookies because it's a lot less dishes to do then, and it helps them stick.
Yeah.
But I did learn when you make spritz cookies, it has to stick to the pan or else they don't work.
Okay.
So.
Cool. Anybody else? All right, let's go to our next presenter. Make it go out.
Be quiet, please.
Relying on you, Steve.
Give me a break.
I got it. My go-to. Okay, he needs to find
It's
his.
gonna be amazing.
Braeden, what's yours called?
What's mine? What's mine?
Let's go and find it.
I have to find it?
Well,
I kind of forgot. Wait,
you named it.
it's somewhere on here. Oh, yeah.
Somewhere.
I clicked on, wait, aren't we supposed to click the 3 dots?
Yes, 3 dots, open it
Not
up.
those 3 dots.
Oh, it's.
No.
Why do you do
Go
What
back.
am I doing?
Go back to one.
Wait,
Escape.
where do you go? I don't know how to get back.
Let me do this.
Okay, Simon. Oh, we're using that thing?
Well, they both work. This one, all 3 of them work.
Good, now one more, right there.
This?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Is that all of yours? No, that's mine.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
right off the
3
name.
dots.
Okay.
That's 3.
All right.
Everybody seeing this?
Open an app.
This is a good example of what not to do.
Not Braeden!
Colin?
Woo!
This is an experience.
It's supposed to be an experience.
It's in everything that we
And you
do.
realize, of course, this is faster. Once it's up, it's faster.
Wait. Why do I only have 3 slides?
No!
No, all of my slides are on the one I shared. Why are there no slides on it? Hold on. 1 second. We might have to.
Mr. Belka!
No, it's my bad. Let me see real quick. I saved it and I shared it. Oh, it's because it just changed the name of it.
Well,
Okay,
Braeden.
I gotta reinsert it.
Oh my god.
Man, come on.
It's extended experience.
I'm sorry.
Braeden.
It's just says keep this out.
We have a saving
Simon?
issue.
What did you expect?
Well, I told.
Not much.
For bringing this to get last week, what's up, bud?
What? No, I put it in there and it only says I have 3 slides now.
Okay, so upload a new one.
Upload it. Okay.
This is what I asked you to do before this morning.
Well, I know, but it's closed and I can't, it like changed the name of mine, so I can't find it.
So you lost it.
No, it's right here, but like,
But I
Then
can't.
can't you see where it's saved then? You have it open.
But like I just don't know. Like, and my project wasn't done this morning, so.
Rizvi, still
You
no.
talking about baby or Braeden?
Oh, cool.
it's here.
Yes, you're right.
B Parker underscore G. Yeah.
You'll be fine. You'll be awesome.
This is really gonna help my score last night.
Okay.
What?
That would be.
You what?
My project is in
I tried really hard not to have baby, but you know.
Well, that's not.
It says Kingston.
You are so unprepared.
I did good on the PowerPoint, like I did good and I have everything
There it
done.
is.
Do you have pictures or choose on the PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Okay, so at least we can see
Wait,
this.
what was your project?
Can you shoot?
Okay.
I'm just watching your clip. You'll be fine. Seriously.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
I'm excited.
Bailey, your
This is
PowerPoint
like-
is in the folder, and it seems like that's half the battle today.
That's way ahead of certain people.
Braeden.
Okay. Parents, due to technical difficulty, we are trying to upload a version that will actually function. Sorry. But thank you for your patience.
Except for finals.
That's the finals.
And the sign, and the unofficial sign.
The what?
The unofficial science final.
It's only, it's a marine biology test, it's not really a final.
I know, but since it's so
Final
close
is
to the end of
only,
the
a
year.
final is like a semester or 2 semesters. This is a mere quarter.
That's nice.
This is a mere quarter. It's everything you've already learned. You'll be fine.
And I'm excited for Pictionary.
Hey, same.
How are we doing?
Okay, what's it called, Braeden?
Still confused on like what the contents of the.
What's the name of it that we're looking
You won't
for
get
over
any
here?
answer to that.
Well,
I tried.
it's not even uploading, so
It's not mucho problems.
Nice.
trying to figure it out.
I asked you to check this before you came to school. That's why I messaged you.
It's in there though.
It's
Yeah,
not.
it is, double check, it was one of those, so.
What class are you
I
at?
told you that, so I got, well, consider it on. You can have, now.
We're hoping everybody else's genius hour is uploaded.
Someone else will instead.
All right, so
We'll just come back.
we'll come back. So guess what? We're going to the Thomas. Come on up, Thomas. You lucky guy. Just don't hit the
My name is Thomas Braeden, and my genius hour project was making comic strips. Why I chose this project is because I like to read comic strips. I thought this project would be easy. It's really easy. I did not know what else to do for that project, so I chose this one. For progress, I had to brainstorm, come up with good ideas versus bad ideas. So with the bad ideas, you have to make sure it worked on paper and that it wasn't just pure garbage. For the good ideas, I tried to use them on paper and see if they're good. And what topics to choose. Ideas to paper, can it work on paper for the project? Work on layout. So like I would have to use templates, print them out, and then have my final results. I had ups and downs during this project. I had good ideas, good templates. I had a little bit of fun. And without COVID, I have no other ideas. Downs were, I'm not a very good drawer. Not all ideas work. It was pretty stressful, not happy with some results. Some final drafts were. And they have some comic strips, but you guys can't see it. And they're just about COVID and others, mostly COVID. And one of the things is based on playing a video game. My conclusion, thought I would make more comics. I thought I would make like a lot more comics. Had some more ideas, but couldn't get to do them. It was not very good till I found out, and I will not continue this project.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for your patience. We've been having some technical difficulties this morning, as I'm sure you can all imagine, running 10 of these meetings simultaneously on campus. Things get a bit busy, so I appreciate your patience during all of this.
Okay, let's try this again.
No, don't close it. Minimize it, just.
This?
Yep.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Yay,
Minimize that.
sorry.
Minimize.
Here,
Okay,
take over, because you're pointing and I can't see your point.
it's okay. So let's start from the beginning.
All right, start over, because you need to practice. Or not.
My name's Bailey Patterson, and for Genius Hour, I painted a shoe. My original objective of the project was to have one fully painted shoe and an online design template. I met my objective of painting the shoe, but did not complete the template because I couldn't find an online program that would help me do it. I ended up not liking my shoe just because the colors weren't my favorite, and the amount of time the paint took to arrive, but my progress on hold. And then learning moments and changes. My most powerful learning moments were learning to not procrastinate and plan for the unexpected. And the most important thing I learned was to use my time wisely. I learned this because I was rushing towards the end of my project to finish, just because I procrastinated. And I would change the colors and designs if I had more time. And I will use this in the real world to get things done in the beginning and not procrastinate. Paint troubles of the project. The paint took a long time to arrive because the company was on back order. And then I procrastinated throughout my project, and it caused me to just not necessarily get my project done. And then when the paint arrived, it was separated and I couldn't mix up the paint, so it was really hard to paint. And then the pictures, picture of my original shoe, and then the journey of the project. Love of the shoes was the original motivation, and the only time period where I lost motivation was where I lost ideas of how I wanted to paint it. And then I was able to look on Pinterest and other online resources to look for ideas, and that was also my mentor, was just Pinterest. And I would not want to do this project again because it just came boring and compared to other cooking projects or other projects in general. And then challenging moments was finding ideas, because I just kind of lost motivation, and then Pinterest had weird ideas, and then and then keeping motivated, I had to kind of push myself to stay with it and not give up. And then the paint arrived late, obviously. And then I used online resources for tips to help me get back on track and help when the paint wasn't cooperating. And then finished other parts of my project while paint was arriving. So I worked on the PowerPoint while the paint was arriving. And thank you. What was your favorite part of your project? Probably the painting part.
The next person that's going to go, please sign up here while they ask questions.
What kind of paint did you use to actually stick to the shoe?
It was acrylic leather paint, so it was 4 sheets. Yeah.
Are you now painting and selling shoes?
No.
What's your name? So I can
Colin, it should be Braeden.
All right, next one, approaching.
Where are you going to get those at?
I don't know, 7th grade? Is the
No.
6th grade?
No, it's on an email.
It's in an email?
Yeah, or it's actually on the SharePoint. Right
Here, okay. So who am I looking for?
Yeah.
Colin Braeden. C. Braeden _
C. Brennan?
Yeah.
This one?
And then do we have audio?
We do have audio,
Yes.
Okay.
I believe. Looks like we have audio. All right, I think you're good.
Okie dokie.
So, with the little arrows.
So hello, my name is hold on. My name is Colin Braeden, and this year for Genius Hour, I am making an ad. So my motivation is that I kind of wanted to learn how to edit more. So I decided what's a project I could do that I would have to edit with. And so I decided making an ad for St. George's would be a great thing to practice editing on. One of the most important learning moments is to not procrastinate. Because I kind of got in this loop where it's I'll have free time, I'll just do it next week. And then I wouldn't do it then, and then I would do I'll do it tomorrow. Then I just got stuck in kind of a loop, so I eventually got it done. And then I do not think I will pursue this project again, because as fun as it was, I would like to branch out a little more so I can now have editing, and maybe next year I'll do something else. And I'll have another skill that I can add to my arsenal, I guess. So taking photos and videos. I looked around the campus looking for good, so originally I started looking for photos around the campus. I would mark down the location and I was just like, oh, this would be a good photo if it was like in winter. And I'd be like, oh, this might be a good photo in the spring. So I would do that, then I would mark down the location and then take a practice photo. So if you go back to the spot where I thought it was a good photo, and then I would retake it later. So I would come back to the spot and take a photo until I got one that I like. So if the lighting wasn't great, I would come back tomorrow, maybe a little earlier, and then retry it. And then I try to mix winter and spring/summer, so that like you could see winter side of the campus and the spring side of the campus. So I have all my photos and videos ready, and I used a program called Photoshop to edit. I tried to use Photoshop for all of my photos, but I maybe only got to about a third because of how little time I had after I had all my photos. But 1/3, of course, is better than nothing. So editing continued. I used 2 other programs called Video Shop and Adobe Lightroom. So originally I was supposed to edit on Adobe Premiere Pro, but my computer was not fast enough to complete the ad on time. Sorry, that says in time. And so I had this program on my phone called Video Shop, so I used Adobe Lightroom as a fast way to transfer my photos from my computer to my phone. And then once I had them on my phone, I would edit them, and then I would edit the video. So, and now what you've all been waiting for. Let's see if I can play this. Oh, any questions? Gemma?
Who's your mentor?
YouTube. I looked at YouTube videos and Braeden.
How long did it take to complete your ad?
Around an hour to edit it.
Oh, okay.
It's me, so it's Rizvi, S.
Sorry!
Video
Shop, well, it didn't have like cropping features that I wish I used, but.
Photoshop doesn't have cropping?
Oh, no, not Photoshop. I think it's a Video Shop. Photoshop, it took me a little bit to learn how to use it.
Thank you.
It's M. Rizvi, and Rizvi, S. Harbon. This one? Okay, so you're gonna use the arrows to move forward. Good luck.
As Ted Williams would say, just keep going. Everyone gets better if they keep at it.
I wish that we knew this before we started our Genius Hour project, because I think it would help us a lot throughout it. So just keep this quote in mind.
Okay, raise your hand if any of you had started or made a goal and you stopped and you didn't reach that goal because you lost motivation.
Okay, yeah, a lot of you guys. So for this year's Genius Hour project, Sarah and I did a running project.
Okay, our original objective was to run a mile in under 6.5 minutes.
We chose 6.5 minutes because 7 minutes seemed too easy and 6 minutes seemed kind of hard, so we didn't want to, and if we didn't get close to under 6 minutes, we just thought we'd lose motivation.
Okay, here's the field, not photographers, but we just did 6 laps around that, that'd be a mile.
This is what we wanted our calendar to look like. We'd meet together at Sarah's house on Mondays and Thursdays, and we would run a mile every Monday, and we'd work out on Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Yeah.
So this is what our calendar ended up looking like. We'd still meet on Mondays and Thursdays, but we'd only run a mile like twice in a year, and we'd only do individual workouts on these times.
By the end of April, we were like, oh my goodness, we only have a month left. So we kind of had to get back on track. So we obviously kept meeting on Mondays and Thursdays, and we'd run out all those times. And then we'd also work out on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
And so here's our progress. So my best mile was 6:21, and you can't really see it, but at the bottom it's 9:29 because I learned that I get sight aches. And so I just had to walk the whole mile, and that ended up getting that off a mile.
Yeah. Well, at least you finished it. Two of my highlights were on March 16th, where I got 6:29, which was the first time I got under 6.5 minutes, and then on May 10th, where I got 5:29, which was my best mile.
So some learning moments was one, our second day of training, which was meeting up, we ran a mile, and it was pouring rain, and we ran in the swamp pretty much. Then we also had a running block, which we don't know is a thing, but pretty much we lost motivation. And so we talked to our mentor, Coach R, and he told us to take a break and not like run the mile anymore, but still do workouts. So we did like bike riding, walks, and yoga.
Yes. Other sports kind of came, or I wish so we do other sports, like in the winter I ski from Friday through Sunday, and Sarah has sports every weekdays, and we didn't really take that into consideration when we made our calendar, and that got in the way, so we didn't do the workouts that we wanted to do. And then we also made a bunch of non-realistic goals, like more about the calendar. We just overworked ourselves, which was not good.
Some successes were we're both meeting our goal, and another one was not missing a day of training, and training would be meeting up and either doing a mile or a workout.
Yeah, we also ran a mile 10 times, which doesn't seem like a lot, but Coach R also said that it's not all about running the mile, it's like preparing to run the mile. Also created a lot of workouts, which we just handed out. Yeah, you can do whatever you want with that, you can throw them away or do anything. And then we also improved our overall running abilities, obviously.
Some takeaways. So one of mine were bigger strides do help running a mile. So if you ever run a mile, that does help. And like I said, I get side aches, and that I learned about myself a lot. And the third one would be for me and Maya, is that we have to listen to music while we run, because we don't want to hear our breath while we run. Really weird, but it helps.
So one of my takeaways were when we started and we had to ride a bike to Hutton, I kind of forgot how to ride a bike. I was a little wobbly, so I got better at riding a bike also. And then I learned how different workouts can affect your running and which ones are good to do. And then I learned that sometimes what you learn throughout the process is part of success. Any questions?
How were you guys able, like, what was your, like, you said you went through, like, how did you guys get yourself to do all this? Like, I can maybe get myself to do 1 page. All of this is like, how did you get yourself to do this?
I don't know. We just did it because I didn't want to let Sarah down. Yeah. Also, we did them in parts. Like, we'd only do like 1 a day.
Oh, okay.
We didn't do it all at a time.
Sorry.
Are you gonna keep running and doing these kind of things?
Yeah, but I don't think we're gonna do it as like next year's JSR project. Right? Okay. Is that all? Okay, bye.
Next.
Joe, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
You got it.
Hi, my name is Rizvi, and my Genius Hour project this year was Cookbook for the Family. My inspiration for this project was I wanted to create a cultural bind between 2 sides of my family using food. I have a really diverse family, and we all love to share food, and we all love food. I really wanted to capture some of these traditions so we would have them in one place forever. For my process, I started by researching content and format for my cookbook, and then I planned all the cookbook contents out. Next, I contacted family members for recipes via text and call. Then I entered recipes into a formatted Word document, and finally, I made a final push for more recipes to lengthen the cookbook. For my research, I first started by researching templates for the cookbook, and then I researched what goes into making a good cookbook. This includes format, style, clarity, measurements, and instructions for the cookbook. For my reflection, I would say that I learned a lot of really good life lessons, including communication skills, like when I had to text and call my family members. I also learned time management, like creating a schedule and being on time. I learned perseverance when things didn't go right. I had to make sure that I was pushing through. And I also learned following up. And by following up, I mean when things don't get done the first time, I have to make sure that they get done the second time, and I just made sure that things got done. And an example of this would be I texted all my family members, and some of them didn't respond, so I made sure that I followed up with a call so I'd get all those recipes. For my motivation for this project, I really love cooking, and I think that family is also really important. So by combining 2 things that I love, I can make a family treasure. As for my project timeline, at first I was super excited about starting my project and getting things done. But as soon as winter hit, I became really busy with sports and school. And so my motivation kind of dwindled. And then the deadline started coming really fast, and I needed to start getting things done. So I got everything done. And as for right now, I really want to keep building on this project and the cookbook for the time to come, because I think that that'd be really cool, and I have a lot more ideas for the cookbook. As for my original goals, I think that I met most of my goals. I collected recipes from my family members, and I entered those into a common electronic shareable format. I do think that I need to gather more cultural specific recipes and just more recipes, because my cookbook's a little short right now. So I think I need to add more to it. I think that I lacked a specific timeline, and that kind of stalled my progress for the project. So that's why I didn't get as many of my goals done as I needed. For my successes, I think that I made a good cookbook, and it's in paper format, so it'll always be there. I think that I learned a lot from this project, and I did all this by persevering through the difficulties that I faced. I didn't let everything bring me down. For the future of this project, I think that I would love to continue adding to the cookbook in the future. I also want more diversity in the foods that I choose to put in the cookbook. I want to add more background stories and my thoughts to the recipes as like a little note under each dish. And then I also want to add photos to the recipe book, and I want to make all the recipes this summer with all the time that I'm going to have. Thanks for listening. Any questions? Simon?
What was like your favorite recipe that you collected and wrote down?
My favorite recipe? Well, my favorite recipe to eat would definitely be my dad's shrimp pasta. I think that's really good. But some of them I haven't tried because they're my other family members. Maya?
What was the hardest part of this project?
I would say the most time consuming is definitely putting in the recipes. That took a really long time and it's kind of boring, but yeah. Any more questions? Cool.
There we go.
My name is Gemma Rizvi. I'm in 6th grade, and my genius hour project this year was learning percussion. My original goal was to learn percussion, but that was pretty vague. So over the course of my project, I formed newer goals that were more specific. My more specific goals included reading and playing up to 8th and 16th notes, which I did, playing an entire snare solo without stopping, which I also did, and looping a drum beat 3 times. Having accomplished those original goals that I set myself, I wanted to keep challenging myself, so I went on to bigger things, which professional percussionists will tell you actually aren't very big, but they were big for me. So they included playing along to a song, making my own drum beats, and putting fills in with looped beats, which is basically if you have 4 measures of music and you put a different beat in the 4th measure. So what I learned about percussion is that it's hard, but it is fun. And about what I learned about myself is that it's hard to get myself to commit to something, but percussion really helped me do that. And also, when I was in, I think, 3rd and 4th grade, I took piano and I did not like it. And so that kind of spoiled how much I can like playing music. And percussion helped me get that back, that I can enjoy making music. This is how I started before my project, and this is how I ended. My mentor is Andrew Repsold. He teaches percussion at Gonzaga and plays in the symphony, and he is my teacher and my mentor. So here's my calendar. I had 1 in-person lesson right at the beginning of January, and then my teacher got tested positive for coronavirus. So I was online doing percussion lessons for the rest of January and February, and I went back to percussion in early March, and I think that really helped me with my percussion and my project. So some successes that I had were that I got to learn the basic skills of percussion, which I hope to carry on and do someday, maybe medium skills or advanced skills. Another success I had was that I helped myself get better at commitment, which was one of my original goals that I wanted to get better at. And I really loved percussion.
What songs did you play?
Well, I didn't really play any songs, but my teacher had me play along to some songs, like rock songs like Imagine Dragons and cool. Yeah.
More questions? That's it? Hey, Braeden.
Yeah.
Bring the project up.
What? Oh.
Yep, do that. Ish.
Under what letter?
Let me feel it. Let me see it.
Thanks, Steve.
The arrows?
Great, thank you. Okay, so hi, my name's Braeden Parker, and for my Genius Hour project, I decided to make wood bats. So my original motivation, my motivation did waver a lot during this project, and I didn't always want to do it. I was able to get back on track by telling myself that I needed to do my project. And if I had an option, I would pursue this project again because I found it was really fun making things out of wood. Some of my powerful learning moments were that I learned that it's not good to wait till the last minute, and I need to be patient with the process of learning something new, and it's not just going to come to you right away. And I needed to keep trying it when I failed, but that was hard. I know that I learned some of the lessons of my project because I did wait till the last minute, and my project took a lot of time, so that was my bad. If I would do this again, I wouldn't wait till the last minute, and I'd put more effort into it because I feel like I could do a lot better if I spent more time and not waited till the last minute. What caused the results of my project was me, because I was the one that did my project with the help of my dad, and that's what caused me to procrastinate because I'm a big procrastinator. And I will use this in the future if I ever need to make something out of wood or anything with that. Some more objectives were that my original objectives were to make 2 wood bats. What got in the way the most was myself because I procrastinated a lot, and that made it challenging to finish my project. Some of the problems I faced were that I could have practiced more, I procrastinated, and some of the tools I were using broke. More objectives were that some of the most challenging moments was learning how to turn the wood and not to cut too much out of the wood. My problem was solved because I learned how to turn the wood properly, and I did change my original objective from making 3 bats to end up making 2 because I ran out of time. So some of my triumphs were that I learned a new skill. I learned that procrastination is a bad thing for any project. I learned that not all things are easy to make and complete right away, and that it's a process learning how to do something. And I also made a successful product of my project. So before I did anything, that's what my bats looked like before I did anything. And then I took that, put it on a machine that looked like this, and that spins the wood really fast. And then I took these tools and shaped the wood with different dimensions and ended up making these out of the original blanks that I put in the machine. Yeah, so thank you. Any questions? Okay, Maya?
Who was your mentor?
My dad and my uncle. Yeah, Simon.
So what kinds of wood did you use?
I used maple and ash. Go. Colin?
What is your favorite part about this project?
My favorite part? Probably learning a new skill, but didn't really get to do that because I waited till last week to do my project, which was a really bad thing. So don't do it. Do I still got to be on camera? All the questions are answered. Does anybody have any questions? Any other questions?
No more questions.
Bye, parents. It was good. Thank you for showing up and being patient.
No, I have to change for PE.
Good job, kids. That was great.
Say what?
That was a great job by all the kids. Thank you.
They were awesome.
Very, very good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, parents. Bye.
Bye.